How's it going, everybody? I wanted to walk through a really quick little demo here. As I was just at a huge hypnosis conference, HypnoThoughts Live, and a lot of folks were interested in my work. They've been watching my YouTubes and my TikToks and things like that. So here's just kind of a really nice little demonstration to talk a little bit more about some of the principles I was describing. So as we go through this, I want you to notice, perhaps I should just bring you up to speed. The client in this demonstration just indicated that there's something they can't quite figure out how to let go of. We've all been there before. Now, we could get into a lot of techniques and things like that, but there's something really magical about just letting that client's unconscious mind figure out how to do that for them, right? Because we ultimately don't know the best way for them to do it. We might have a technique for it, but I think there's a richness and a meaning and this overall empowerment that client gets to experience when they realize their mind did it. And all we did was just sort of create a space for them to do it. So it's almost like that muscle's not going to develop fully if we're saying, hey, use my process for this, right? They can develop their own process for this type of thing. So let's jump into this, and I'll just point out things as we go along. Right.
What happens if you let that go? You don't really know how to let it go. So this is a really interesting situation, right, Jordan? Because it's like a door opened in his mind, and he's
So these are sort of the metaphors he's using now. I kind of did this to demonstrate how little we have to work. I just brought the metaphors up indirectly so my students could kind of see what happens when we do that. It's really cool. And these are the metaphors that he offered to us previously, not ones that we gave to him.
saying, I don't know how to let it go. This is why we talk about the unconscious mind. The change happens there first, then it becomes conscious. So it's just something to be aware of, because you'll start to see with your clients the change will happen before they know it. That's why the processing is so important. So I'll demo something a little bit here, okay, Jordan? So, Mike, I understand you're having trouble letting go, and you've got this feeling of a door opening. You said in the back of your head, is that right, or was it in the front? The top of your head.
It's just a little trick here. I think this is like an old Ericksonian thing where you just kind of like Erickson would just maybe misunderstand that person intentionally. Chris Voss talks about this too. If you say the wrong thing to people, they're likely to give you more information because humans have this desire to correct. So it's a neat little trick you can use, and there's not much to it, right? I just said, hey, is it here or there? I don't remember what it was, and I totally knew what it was. But creating that space for them to then, okay, let me go back in and experience this inner reality. All right, this is where the problem is, and this is where their client's unconscious mind can create the solution. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah. So when you focus on that opening, what's that opening like? Like opening a door to a stuffy house, and you open it and fresh air and sunlight comes in. Right. And gets rid of the stuffiness. Yeah. There's sunlight in there, getting rid of the stuffiness. What's happening with that sunlight now? Still there. Yeah. And what's happening with that stuffiness?
flushed out.
So I'm not 100% sure exactly what that means for the client. I would have no way of knowing that. I don't have to know it. That's why we're not using, pre-talks about a symptom or focused on techniques and inductions. Or the client's unconscious mind will tell you exactly what they need to solve the problem. Now, I'm not going to be able to observe that if I'm focused on trying to do something, right? And of course, if I try to do something, they have an opportunity to resist me. But if I'm just exploring their inner reality with them, it's a pretty simple process now. I've really taken the pressure off myself at this point. Something else I want to highlight about that is, this is unconscious conscious conflict. It does sound a bit like that's the metaphor here. We've got a stuffiness and we've got a lightness, and now we're just allowing his mind to sort of sort through those metaphors. As you continue watching this, I just want you to notice some of the physical responses that are occurring with the client here.
Yeah. That stuffiness is flushed out. It's just flushed out.
See the head starting to get the neck starting to sway a little. See the blink response is slowing. Notice the shift in tonality. All this stuff you're familiar with.
And what's that sunlight feel like?
I think it'd be like warm, but it's just like light and yeah, light feeling light. It's like clearing, refreshing kind of.
Yeah.
You saw the blink with the word refreshing.
It's like it's light, but it's doing what fresh air does.
What a fascinating thing. That light, refreshing light. There's just a lightness to it. But it's not warm.
Yeah.
It's just refreshing. That's right. Just refreshing light. There you go. Nice, refreshing light. And rid of all that stuffiness. There you go. So refreshing. So much light.
So full disclosure, when I'm working with a client, I probably don't even talk this much. I just didn't want to show like it's a bit out there. Usually there's just a lot of silence here. I'm mindful that I'm trying to show certain principles off to students, right? So I'm even working more than I normally would. Once you really start to get this stuff, you can repeat just a single word back and it'll have potentially an even greater impact. So let's see where this goes.
Just makes everything lighter. And of course, presumably, the lighter things are, might just find an easier way to let them go. Because that sunlight's there anyway. Just let it do its thing. There we go. And don't try to do anything. Hey, Mr. Jordan.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty cool experience, right? And we just basically collapsed those realities and some kind of a insight emerged, and we just kind of echoed that.
Yeah, so basically all we've done here is the unconscious mind's communicating certain things, right? It can be all the different ways the unconscious mind does that. We teach that in my course here. So once you start to see that communication, it becomes very clear what that client needs. and you just sort of get to engage in this fun dynamic process with them. But again, as I mentioned before, it's hard to notice those things and to become aware of them, and really just to draw your clients' awareness to them if you're super focused on like a protocol technique or something along those lines, right? Because that's where your mind winds up being. Now, yeah, so it's just kind of a different way of approaching change work. And what we're doing again is we're eliminating the guesswork from it, right? It's all coming from them anyway. Like I couldn't have made a pre-talk for that. I would have had no idea that for, in this case, the client to get rid of that problem, they would have needed to have this experience about light and stuffiness and refreshing things, right? I would have been impossible to predict. So I'm not going to, right? Why would I? I don't want to waste my time with that. They'll tell me exactly what I need. I hope that clarifies a little bit of the things we were talking about, and everybody have a great day. Take care.